At New York airports, those coming from 22 states designated as COVID hotspots now need to fill out these forms from the health department, providing contact information or face a $2,000 fine. The state had already imposed a 2-week quarantine for those travelers, like Elle Hathaway of California, who's returning to Syracuse University next month.
They're trying to figure out a way to work with the governor and figure out like a safe, effective way, because realistically they know kids are not going to be able to come back like 2 weeks early.
But with tens of thousands of people traveling here every day, can this actually be enforced? Last month, Governor Cuomo announced up to a $10,000 fine if a person entered the state without quarantining and spread the virus. So far, no fines have been issued in New York City. Months ago, Texas imposed its own 14-day quarantine for travelers from the Northeast, but today, Texas officials told NBC News they did not cite anyone, just conducted random spot checks.
Just by the sheer number of people that we would need to enforce this around the clock, 24/7, we just don't have that type of staffing.
Still, after 3 people returned to Warren County, New York from a vacation in Florida and tested positive, 46 residents are now on lockdown and being monitored.
We have 8 active cases of the coronavirus. If we had 200 active cases, it gets a whole lot harder and a whole lot more labor intensive.
The governor's office says travelers driving from hotspots must fill out the form online. Again, it's not clear how that will be enforced. Lester?
All right, Gabe, thank you. President Trump plunged back into the issue of police killings of black Americans today and also weighing in on the issue of the Confederate flag. The president making controversial comments about both. And Jeff Bennett has late details for us.
In a new interview with CBS News, President Trump called the killing of George Floyd by police terrible, but hit back when asked about the underlying issue of deadly use of force by police.
Why are African Americans still dying at the hands of law enforcement in this country?
And so are white people. So are white people. What a terrible question to ask. So are white people. More white people, by the way. More white people.
The president also defending the display of the Confederate flag.
You understand why the flag is a painful symbol for many people because it's a reminder of slavery.
Well, people love it, and I know people that like the Confederate flag and they're not thinking about slavery. I just think it's freedom of speech, whether it's Confederate flags or Black Lives Matter or anything else you want to talk about. It's freedom of speech.
Those comments coming as the president faces fresh fallout over his coronavirus response in the form of an extraordinary rebuke from 4 former heads of the CDC, who argue in a new op-ed published in the Washington Post that the president and White House officials are attempting to undermine the agency's guidance for schools hoping to reopen in the fall. The condemnation from Drs. Tom Frieden, Jeffrey Copeland, David Satcher, and Richard Besser comes as President Trump blasted the CDC's school reopening guidelines as very tough and expensive.
For guidelines to be issued by CDC and then undermined by the White House confuses everyone. The CDC guidelines are based in science. If we can't rely on that, where are we going to turn?
A White House official tells us in response that it's been working with the CDC in partnership since the very beginning of this pandemic. And they say they encourage all Americans to follow CDC guidelines. Lester?
Jeff Bennett at the White House tonight. Thanks. A late development this evening. Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg has been hospitalized for treatment of a possible infection. The 87-year-old justice underwent a procedure to clean out a bile duct stent that was placed last August. The court says she will stay in the hospital for a few days to receive IV antibiotic treatment. A federal judge today denied bail for Ghislaine Maxwell, the former girlfriend of Jeffrey Epstein,